So we now know who was the shooter who did the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump, a 20-year-old Pennsylvania man named Thomas Matthew Crooks. But there are still a lot of pretty huge open questions that I want to discuss here. So as I'm recording this, a bomb squad, I believe, is currently searching his home. But real quick, here's what we know right now. Law enforcement authorities have identified the man who made an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday. The FBI said the shooter, who is dead, was identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. A motive was not clear. So this is official information coming out of the FBI in the last 20-30 minutes. Bethel Park is a predominantly white, relatively well-to-do city in the southern reaches of greater Pittsburgh. Fucking Steelers fans, dude. The site of the rally, Butler, is about an hour's drive north of Pittsburgh. Pennsylvania voter records listed Thomas Matthew Crooks with the same address and birth date as a registered Republican. So that's sort of the really big news that's been sort of swirling around Twitter tonight. I say tonight because it's 11:30 as I'm recording this p.m. Pacific, which would be 2:30 in the morning for East Coast people who are well asleep by now. But I think this is going to be huge news tomorrow. Well, probably today if you're watching this. The fact that he was a Republican, I think, is monumental. And I'm not saying just from the Democrats' ability to win, but just in all potential facets, right? If this guy was literally anything else, if he was, a card-carrying liberal, or a leftist, or, some sort of minority, if it was Latino or black or gay or trans or a woman, it would be a lot different than if he was just sort of a run-of-the-mill mentally ill white guy, especially a Republican. I mean, anyone who's going to do this is 100% incredibly fucking mentally ill. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But him being a Republican is extremely significant. It does beg the question, why would a Republican do something like this to, the presumptive Republican nominee? I think it's difficult to speculate exactly why he did this. Some people are saying maybe he was a never Trumper or whatever, and he just really hated Donald Trump. He was like, damn it, I really wanted Ron DeSantis or whatever. A part of me think that that's, I don't know, less likely. When we get more information about this guy, his social media posts, the FBI is digging through all of that right now. I'd be surprised if he was boy, I really hate, Donald Trump or something specifically. I really wanted Ted Cruz or something. My current theory is that he's just someone who's very mentally ill. And just, another theory people are having is he was an accelerationist who wanted to, stir the pot, get the Civil War going or whatever. I don't know. It's doing something like this is such a, wild card. You gotta be really, really fucking mentally ill to do something like this, for sure. John Hinckley Jr., right? His deal, he was the guy who attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in March 30th, 1981. This attempt, as far as I know, wasn't really politically motivated. It was to, try and impress Jodie Foster, if I'm remembering this correctly. The reason I'm going ahead with this attempt now is because I can no longer wait to impress you. So this is... Hinckley apparently has schizophrenia. This is what you gotta be, this level of crazy to do something like this at this point. I saw someone on Twitter say, liberals or leftists, don't got that dog in them to do something like this, which I thought was funny in, a sardonic way. When this was all coming out, I was like, Jesus Christ, did some fucking crazy fucking liberal do this? But a part of me just was very skeptical over it. I didn't think this was a false flag or anything. I didn't think this was the Trump team doing this to set him up as a martyr. Got a really good sniper to miss. That's insane in my opinion. 0% chance of that happening. It's clearly just another crazy fucking right-wing guy. And crazy fucking right-wing guys tend to do things like this. So this is between January 2015 and January 2021. Violent far-right terrorist attacks versus violent far-left terrorist attacks versus other. Look at the comparison between right-wing terrorist attacks and left-wing and other. Significantly more right-wing. Since 2015, right-wing extremists have been involved in 267 plots or attacks and 91 fatalities. At the same time, attacks and plots ascribed to far-left views accounted for 66 incidents, leading to 19 deaths. So right-wing extremism is significantly more harmful and dangerous than anything the left or fucking liberals are doing, right? So statistically, it made more sense that this guy would be another fucking mentally ill right-wing person. I mean, to be a fucking Republican today, you need some sort of fucking mental illness or brainworms or lack of education or lack of empathy or all of the above. You know what I mean? It makes sense to me why the people with the dumbest fucking political views are gonna do the dumbest fucking shit. You know what I mean? More than a quarter of right-wing incidents and just under half of the deaths in those incidents were caused by people who showed support for white supremacy or claimed to belong to groups espousing that ideology, the analysis shows. Victims of all incidents in recent years represent a broad cross-section of American society, including blacks, I hate that fucking term, black people, Jews, immigrants, LGBTQ individuals, Asians, and other people of color who have been attacked by right-wing extremists wielding vehicles, guns, knives, and fists. So yeah, right-wing extremism is on the rise. It's pretty much like the most common form of political violence and extremism in America today. So it does make total sense why this fucking absolute crazy person was a Republican.
I mean, this was inches away, really, from a really different outcome here, Chris.
A catastrophe.
Yeah. So this is going to be the biggest question, I think, on everyone's mind now. I think that because he was a Republican, the idea that, like, this is going to, like, I don't know. If he was anyone but a Republican, the right-wing media, Trump's campaign would have had the biggest fucking gimme imaginable. Because this guy was a Republican, I think it takes a lot of the juice out of it for them. I do think it's funny how, like, every single right-wing piece of shit immediately jumped on this to be like, you know, this, to insinuate to some degree that this was like a liberal doing political violence on behalf of like Joe Biden or whatever. Like Republican Congressman Mike Collins, he blatantly accused Biden of ordering this shooting from Trump. And now we're finding out that it's just some fucking Republican kid. This moment should have flipped a switch inside every American out there today. Trump 2024 or our country is gone forever. Like every fucking right-wing piece of shit, like everyone immediately thought that this was, you know, a liberal who did this. And like this type of rhetoric just doesn't hit when you find out this guy wasn't some liberal or leftist or whatever, right? But there is still a lot of questions that need to be had. Now, again, I don't want to get conspiratorial. I don't want to suspect anything. In the coming days, we're going to learn a lot more. But you have to admit, it is absolutely fucking wild that this happened the way that it did. No matter what we end up learning, this is completely insane. So this building right here was the location of the suspected gunman. And this is the approximate spot where Donald Trump was at roughly 148 yards. Okay, so here's the location of the building, right? AGR International Incorporated, apparently. So Trump is right here, over here. This is where Trump is, right about this spot. Shooter's right here. You're looking around and like, you know, there's only a few places where it kind of makes sense he'd be. And obviously this is obviously the biggest complex near Donald Trump. You've got a couple residential buildings here. You've got these. But this is the biggest complex with a full parking lot, right? Now, I'm not an expert on the Secret Service by any means, but like, was there no one up here? We can zoom in. We can dive in. So this is the spot in November 2023. How do you even get up there with like nobody noticing? Did he have a ladder? There might be some way to get up. Can we zoom in on this parking lot? We can. So this is the other side. I think he's up here. How the hell does he get up there, man? No, seriously, how does he get up there? Over here? That's the spot, right? Right here. So he's on this part of the building, right? Yeah. So he's here. How in the hell does he get up there? Can't really see. Can we move a little bit? I feel like I'm going full schizo mode on my own, trying to piece this together, but like if he was climbing up this side, everyone would have saw. Or like this side, I guess. So this is the building he was on. Yeah, I have absolutely no clue how he got on here. I mean, you'd think a parking lot like this, there'd be people just like loitering, just standing around. How did he do that and like get up there, get set up? No one noticed a thing. Again, I'm siding with like Occam's razor here. There's probably some reasonable explanation here. Like he's not a fucking ghost, right? But yeah, the question is on everyone's mind, how did this happen? I've got a really scuffed CNN video here. Let's take a look.
A sniper will tell you that a shot, if you take a shot 100 to 150 yards, it's not quite a gimme, but it is just about. It is the shot that you are expected to make flawlessly. And so the fact that they somebody allowed that roof to be unmonitored, unguarded, that's going to be, that's not on the counter snipers. It is on the planning or the execution. They could have planned for that roof, and maybe something happened in the planning or in the execution of the plan where it was left unguarded. But what I'm thinking, though, is that how did this guy get so lucky that he had decided to take the one place that was accidentally unguarded? That's just going to be something that we're going to have to really look deeply into.
The guy's face at the end there. Yeah, no, that's the question that's kind of on my mind. Like, was this one guarded? Was this one guarded? Were these guarded? Was this guarded? Was this guarded? Like, was none of it guarded? Or did he get so unfathomably lucky that he found the one spot that they didn't have eyes on, that he had enough time to set up and take several shots at the former president? And so that for me is the single biggest question at this point. How was this the luckiest spot for him to find? Like, I guess we don't know how many of these attempts are thwarted. This would be one way to look at it, right? Like maybe like every third rally, the FBI finds guys exactly like this guy in spots that they didn't get lucky in. Maybe Crooks or whatever this guy's name is, maybe 9 times out of 10, this mentally ill fucking weirdo gets caught. And it just happened to be the 1 out of 10 or whatever, time that he just picked a spot and got lucky. Maybe he wasn't some mastermind or whatever. He was a fucking idiot who was walking into a place swarming with Secret Service agents and just happened to get the spot where he, wouldn't have been found somehow. And he just happened to take a shot that grazes his head. I mean, look, I'm not going to say anything to get me in trouble here. All I'm going to say is it is wild. Like from a just, you're reading this in like a book or something. Like, guy did what he did. He took a shot like that, grazed his fucking ear like a millimeter more to the left or whatever. And things would be very different. This would be a very, very different world if the bullet was just a little bit more off. Even the other way to where it didn't actually hit him. I think that things would be pretty different too, quite frankly. But yeah, so I think going into tomorrow, probably today when you're watching this, the biggest question is, how did that man get there unguarded? And for me, I'm still puzzled, like, did he bring a fucking ladder? Like, you would think this parking lot too would be bumping. Like, this would be a little mini rally of its own, like tailgates up in this bitch, right? Like, did he fucking Assassin's Creed it, bro? Like, boom, boom. Like, that would be, no. Like, I don't know, man. Could he have, I guess he could have gone on any one of these buildings and like made his way. But again, you'd think You would think there would be Secret Service agents patrolling up here. Like, again, I don't know anything about the Secret Service other than, like, you know, what you assume and what you see in, like, movies and shit. But you would think there would be 2 people per building here, right? Something like that. Patrols. Snipers eyeing these buildings where they don't have people, right? Like, is this slanted a little bit? Like, this is slanted a little bit, so if they had snipers, which they did have, they showed, like, some, you could see the footage of the Trump rally. There were snipers there kind of watching the direction of the shooter, I want to say, right? But if he was on this, like, kind of slanted rooftop here, you can kind of see, can I get any closer? This is, like, slanted right here, right? And so, I guess, but again, like, from these, you know, photos here, I struggle to see how he got up there completely unnoticed with, you know, the equipment necessary to do what he did. So before it was confirmed by, like, the official FBI, the New York Post, I think, reported on it first, showing probably this image. I think this is what I've been seeing floating around. They've got his address, Crooks, Thomas Matthew Crooks, you know, his birth date, and his party affiliation. What is this? Rent-free? What? Conservative, computer scientist, entrepreneur. Yeah. You're worthless? What? So, bro, he's... the shooter is proven to be a Republican, and of course, like, all these fucking right-wingers are, like, I don't know, taking it well. A groiper. So this guy's just a straight, like, Nazi. Not like a... You know, this guy's probably, you know, has the same beliefs as the other Nazi, but this guy's like a vocal Nazi, you know what I mean? Groypers live off hate. Yeah, we were just talking about groypers. Groypers live off hate for everyone. Oh yeah, this has been floating around, but I think this is fake. This is someone who allegedly looks like the gunman, but he might be like a 4chan troll. I've been seeing some weird stuff all around. We can watch this real quick.
My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks. I hate Republicans. I hate Trump. And guess what? You got the wrong guy. My name is Thomas Matthew Crooks.
This is the fucking anime thing with his glasses. Anyway, this guy is not this guy. We have, like, real info from, like, the FBI now. Be careful with scoops and say this is someone who hates groypers as much as the next sane adult. So is this guy a fucking groyper? Is that why all the fucking Nazis are getting mad at him for pointing out that about this guy? Was Thomas Matthew Crooks a fucking groyper? If you don't know what that is like, you know, a right-wing guy, alt-right guy, really right-wing, like outwardly, vocally white nationalist Nazi. Not like, you know, where they, you know, hide it under, you know, dog whistles and stuff like Trump or like Elon Musk. Groypers say the exact same things, only vocally. You know what I mean? This is the other cope I've been seeing, right? Let's zoom in. People swap the party to mess up the primaries. Doubt that guy was Republican. This is going to be the cope we're going to see. But as soon as this guy's like social media posts and stuff come out, we're going to absolutely realize dude was just your typical fucking right-wing lunatic. He could have changed the voting habits registration means nothing. Oh my God, they're coping, bro. They're coping. I mean, it could be. And I'm not saying I want this guy to a Republican or anything necessarily. I'm just saying, like, it seems to me that he just is. Like, we looked at the statistics. You know, some people might do this, but like, it's not a common thing by any means. This guy's not gonna. It takes effort to fucking register as a party and then go out and fucking vote. Like, if you don't have, you know, universal mail-in like we do in the state that I live in, like, no one's gonna do this shit. Dude was probably most likely just a Republican, right? Not a chance, kid. He was a member of Antifa. Look it up. What the fuck does that mean? Fucking right-wingers, dude. And he was wearing a gun YouTube channel shirt. Yeah, I've been seeing that around too. So it all stacks up that he's probably just a typical schizophrenic Republican, just like 10% more mentally ill than your average Republican. Let's see what Reddit libs are saying. I feel like a kid being disaffected by a gerontocratic system is hardly surprising by itself, ideologies aside. I don't think that's what his motivations were. Again, his motivations could be literally anything, right? Down to trying to impress Jodie Foster level of mental illness, right? No one who does this sort of thing is anywhere near, you know, sane in any capacity. Republican assassination before RNC makes sense if you wanted a different Republican candidate nominated. I mean, maybe. Oh, he was Republican wonderful. and Dem donor. Donated $15 to the Dems when he was 17. Registered Republican and joined right-wing gun organizations afterward. Interesting. When he was 17. So this must be relatively new info. Known timeline of shooter's politics. January 2021, 17 years old. Donated to a progressive PAC. That is kind of wild still. October 2021, 18. Registered as a Republican. November 2022, 19. Voted as a Republican. Okay, that's interesting. July 2024, tried to kill Trump while wearing a right-wing gun YouTuber shirt. Okay, so he did vote as a Republican. That's interesting. Can someone tell me what a groiper is? So was the guy a groiper? Yeah, so groiper, alt-right, neo-Nazis, the weird is obsessed with Pepe's and white nationalism, yeah. Wait, what? Trump knew about the shooter 4 minutes before it happened and didn't leave the stage? The woman to the right of the podium instantly reaches for her phone like she knew the events would pan out this way? No blood is seen until he has laid on the ground first after so it doesn't add up? Yeah, okay, bro. You think Captain Bonespurs are brave enough for that bullshit? Yeah. Remember, as you are spectating, that the assassination attempt on Reagan was about trying to impress Jodie Foster. Sometimes shooters are living inside their own world that only makes sense to them. Yeah. I'm legitimately surprised that the shooter is a registered Republican. Like, what could his motive be? What is the conservative media spin going to be? Republicans are the nuts with the guns. That's true. Guess we're all forgetting the whole switch parties and vote for Haley thing the libs were pushing. He made donation to Act Blue and Progressive Turnout Project. He registered Republican 3 years ago, right when he turned 18. Yeah, I really don't buy the whole switch parties thing. Anyway, so to recap, my biggest question is, how the fuck did he get there, man? I don't think it was an inside job. Like, that's wild. Like, the Secret Service let it fucking happen. I don't think so. I don't think it's anything like that. For me, the most, like, again, Occam's razory answer is he was just a fucking crazy person who got fucking lucky. That sort of makes more sense to me than the 1,000,001 conspiracies that this could be. But I guess let me know your thoughts in the comments.